All right. Okay, we're here, and it's been God almost a year and a half since we were together.
Was it April of 2020 the last time we
Yes.
did one of these?
Yep. I
Did you
mean,
look
that's
it
what
up on the
I just looked it up, and it was
Smoking Gorilla
April.
Lounge calendar?
Yep, April of 2020. So it's been a long ass time, and your hair's a lot longer for it.
Oh my God, I haven't had a haircut since I'm guessing it was February 2020.
Holy cow!
So all through the
Now, is this-
lockdown, and it continues for some reason or no reason, no good reason.
There's no reason for it. It's just
There's really no reason. I have been too lazy to go, and like we
Okay.
had that brief period of time where if you were vaccinated, it felt like it was kind of safe to do pretty much anything, and
Okay.
now that's kind of passed again. So I also haven't
Okay.
I haven't gone in and gotten it cut.
Okay. All right. Well.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So, and then how's work been with you? Because you're in the travel industry as well as me, but on a different aspect of it.
Not really anymore. I changed jobs in COVID just this past June.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's a little bit of travel aspect, but not as nearly as much as there was before.
Okay.
But I can tell you that up until that point, as you know, the travel industry was pretty much in the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah. I was working on planes. I worked through this whole thing. I worked through the whole thing. And I was on planes that were like totally empty, like just empty. Did a flight to Australia. There was like 13 people on the plane
Whoa,
going to Australia.
that's
Yeah.
a lot of gas for 13 people plus crew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they still have that in place where the maximum is 50 people on board the aircraft, including crew. So that boils down to about 30 or so passengers going down to Australia.
Wow.
So, yeah. But okay, so you changed jobs. But is it remote or?
It's remote. I'm 100% remote now. So no office. That was one of the things I didn't want to go back to the office.
Okay.
The company I was working for was like, everybody come back as soon as possible.
Okay.
And I think I wasn't the only person that they lost because of that policy. New company is all remote and all remote all the time. So I don't anticipate maybe ever even going into the office.
Okay, cool. All right, well, so April, a year and a half, and we were kind of joking about that mask thing, but it's like kind of crazy.
That's right. We had that little thing that we were doing
We
like
d-
when
I
we
had the
didn't know what was going to happen with that.
Yeah, I had the N95 masks, which were standard issue at United Airlines for us, the N95s that we got. And so, but now,
God, year and a half later,
year and a half
different
later,
world,
different world. I know.
different jokes.
Different everything. It's pretty crazy. But it seems like things are slowly kind of, I guess, getting back to, I don't know, some semblance of a normal per se, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't feel too bad. I did get vaccinated, like, not early, like, the old people, really old people were starting to get vaccinated in like December of last year, January. But like the first opportunity that I had, which was like March,
and you did the 2 shots?
I did. I got Moderna, which now I'm really happy about because apparently it is like the most antibodies that you can get without actually getting COVID, which I didn't get COVID, which also is great.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch COVID either. And I did the one and done.
You got Johnson & Johnson. Have you thought about doing like a booster at some point?
Actually,
or-
I was just reading the J&J people are not being offered boosters.
Oh.
The Pfizer and Moderna people are.
So they're saying booster the older people or the people with some kind of medical issues, and then maybe somewhere down the line they will do a booster for the J&J people.
But I mean, I guess you qualify for a booster now.
I mean, if I qualify for a booster, I'll get a booster. Why not?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read where Moderna and Pfizer they qualify for a booster. And the J&J people are feeling left out. Personally, I'm not feeling left out. I mean,
My friend who got the J&J earlier than the rest of us got our shots because he was traveling to Mexico. He got his first booster a week ago, and he gets his second booster this coming week. So basically, he got J&J back in, I don't know, March or February or something, and then he's getting Moderna.
oh, he's doing the
both
Moderna.
shots.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty much one and done. I'm good to go. So, I feel I did my part.
Yeah.
I'm vaccinated.
Well,
and,
yeah, as long as you feel like, you're safe. I mean, obviously, you're in an industry where you're being exposed to everybody.
pretty much everything and
Yeah.
everybody, and it was kind of crazy. I remember having a well. You know what? Before why don't we just discuss this while we're smoking?
we light up
Yes,
first? Well,
we're like going in this thing.
Pick one of those
Okay,
guys.
cool. Oh wow, it's hefty. This thing is like
It's got a little
this
bit of heft
weighs
to
a
it.
lot.
Uh-huh.
I mean, because seriously, like, because I've been smoking a lot of New World stuff that's been like a Corona Gorda or Petite Corona and stuff like that, and around the same size, but not as big a ring gauge.
Right. Yeah, this feels like a big ring gauge. I think it's a 52. Yeah.
It's 4 7/8 by 52, so
Yeah,
it's
just
almost
short of
like
5.
your standard Robusto booster.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to. So that's why I dragged my phone out, is because. Whoops. Okay, because how do you pronounce this thing?
I pronounce it Galanes.
Okay, so let's see here. See how close you are. Spanish. Oh, did it take it out?
But I by no means am a font of knowledge on the Spanish pronunciation of
Spanish
these
simplified.
cigar names that they come up with. And I also, don't ask me what it means. Don't know that either.
Galanes. Let me see here. Okay, here we go.
Galanes.
So you're close.
Galanes.
You're pretty close,
Pretty close.
Galanes.
right? Yeah, because I want to call it Galanes or whatever. And then I guess in the Vitola de Galera and the Vitola de Salida, it's all both the same. Galanes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't
So
think
that's actually a size.
it's a size that actually was created for this Vitola,
Oh.
for this marca, I guess. Well, for this Vitola, I guess we would say it like that, because they can be used for different marcas, but right,
So they come in a 10-count box only,
right.
at least so far. I mean, it's a new regular production cigar. It's
Yeah.
not LCH. It's not limitada. It's not original. Just is what it is,
Right.
right? Por Larranaga. And not very expensive.
Which is good,
Yeah.
right?
It's nice. It's nice that they didn't try to sock us for $15 or $20 a stick for these.
So but they're still about 12, right? Between 10 and 12.
I got these at $10.50.
So that's a good price.
About as good as it gets.
Yeah, because like if you're in, I guess in Switzerland, you're probably going to get it for about 11 or 12, and then if you're in London, you're probably going to get it for like 19 or 20.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong probably about 25. Hong Kong's really expensive.
Probably $20 in Canada too, I imagine.
Probably
something like that.
$20 in Canada. Well, actually, Canadian money, it's probably like 30 or
30
20
Canadian, but like 20 something
yeah.
US.
In the U.S., yeah. So $10.50, that's a great price. But you're always like the bigger, better deal anyway. I mean, you're always like, because we're talking about the Bushidos and stuff like that, and you like got them at this insanely great price, and it's like now they're like, I don't know what they're going for now. They're like $2,000 a box or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a flip side to the always get a deal coin, right? Or always look for the deal coin. Right now, there are no deals. Prices are crazy right now. As you know, if you've been looking, I really haven't bought much in the last few months. They're crazy because Cuba is having problems with COVID. They're having problems with the protests. They've basically shut down the factories over the summer, so they haven't really been rolling cigars. So prices have just gone up as the supplies have dwindled. If you've noticed, like the sale emails that come from the normal, the usual suspects, right, who sell online, it's all like tubos and machine-made cigars and small cigars and things that you find in like duty-free that are always around and regular cigar smokers frankly don't like to buy very much.
Right.
And very little of like a nice cab of Ras or a nice box of short Churchills or something like that. And when they have come up, the prices have been
insane,
so
right?
high.
Really, really high. Like, because I heard that there's been a Robusto shortage. Like, Robustos are like the number one shortage of cigars right now, too. It's like Robustos are super short. So,
I believe it.
I mean, it's crazy how, yeah. And then on top of that, just the whole kind of, I don't know, they need to make money. So, raising the prices.
I mean, my opinion on Cuban cigar prices, especially if you're used to buying them online in countries where you can legally buy them online, of course. is that we've had a long sustained period where the prices we've been able to pay are well below what we should be paying for a luxury item.
Right.
And now they're starting to catch up. They're starting to catch up to what we should be paying. I mean, how much should you be paying for this? You probably should be paying $15 to $20 for the cigar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, like, well, just like going into I was in the cigar warehouse yesterday, actually, just because I wanted to grab a stick or two just to smoke, because I really don't have anything, in my humidor here at all. So, I go in there and I pick up a couple of cigars. It was $30. It was $30 for 2 cigars.
Yep.
And I wasn't like, I didn't get anything. I got
Hey, you're going regular Nicaraguan.
yeah, I did what did I do?
You're not going to the Davidoff case, probably, because
I did a
you're not
Placencia.
getting two of anything
and
for that.
I did, the Illusion Singulari. So I did a Placencia and a Illusion Singulari Phantom, right? So the Phantom was like 16 and the Placencia was 10 something.
Sounds about right.
With the tax, it was 28 something, but 30, close to 30. So, I mean, and that's like normal prices here. I mean, granted, what in Pennsylvania, Arizona, other places where you don't have that heavy tax, you're gonna see less, right? But
Right.
as far as Cubans go, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they're, depending on who you ask, of course, they're considered the better cigars in the world. I know, obviously, people who make and sell Nicaraguan cigars and Dominican cigars and other blends may disagree, in most cases do, but there's that aura around Cuban cigars as being the best. And, there's an aura around Italian sports cars as being some of the best. Shouldn't you pay higher prices than bargain basement price? I mean, should you be paying $7 for a RAS?
well, I mean,
Or
back
for
in
an
the day you
exhibition
could,
number
yeah,
4?
but yeah,
I mean, on sale days you can still get them for like $8.
yeah, but that's getting fewer and far between. And
Yes.
I just think there's more cigar smokers now too. I think that there's more cigar smokers now. I really a lot more. I mean, I was in the cigar warehouse and this kid was in there. I mean, he was in there and he wanted to buy cigars, and he's like, I got $50. So the guy that's there was pointing out a couple of things. Well, this is 25 and this is 25. He's like, no, I want to spend 50 a piece for a cigar. He's like, oh, okay. So he's like putting them up in the Opus stuff and everything like that, but like people are willing to pay a lot more for cigars now too.
Yeah, when you're starting off as a cigar smoker and you start really trying to branch out and find out where your palate is and what you like, I can understand occasionally just being like, hey, I want to buy an expensive cigar today. I have a little money. I want to see what it's all about, because I've been stuck in that $8 to $12 range where a lot of cigars are, and people are always talking about Opus this and Davidoff that, and I'm going to try one and try to legitimately see where it ranks compared to other cigars at lower price points. I get that. I get the idea of wanting to do that. On the other hand, in the Cuban cigar world, people talk about Pijiques all the time as being one of the top cigars that you can get. And like, honestly, I've got a couple of 2014 Upman Connoisseur Bs for us to smoke here. I'll take those over most any Pijique I've ever smoked. I do not think that there is a 10x difference in enjoyment for the 10x difference in price that you're going to pay for a
Yeah,
Pijique.
I mean, that's true, because I smoked Bahiques from all different various years and everything like that, and the last one I smoked was from 2010.
That's the one to get, right?
Right, and that was 2010 and early 2011 is those are the ones you want to get. And I must say that was a phenomenal cigar.
It was
But-
special. You would call it like a special cigar.
Yeah, but on the other hand, though, even back in the day, I paid really high prices for that cigar. Okay,
Back in the day, meaning when and how much?
we're talking $60 a stick. back in the day.
Back 10 years ago, let's
Yeah,
say.
like I paid maybe a little bit less. I think I paid around 50, and now I think they're going for like what 150 or something like that, maybe more.
I think at least 200. I
Yeah.
don't think you're getting
A 2010, I would personally say that if it's a 2010 and early 2011 Bahike, you should pay 200 a stick because of the way that it is. Because they're paying what people are paying $1,500 a box or 1,000 a box for the stuff that's new.
for brand new
Yeah,
2020s.
yeah, and it's like there's no age on it whatsoever, and that cigar is like it is
Except
what
for
it
the
is.
age of the tobacco that's supposed to be what is it 5-year aged before it's rolled, or 3 years, something like that
For Bahike,
for Bahike. Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
No, I just think it's just medio tempo. And then they have the third fermentation process as always on that stuff, but I don't think that Bahike's aged really.
It doesn't.
I mean, limitada, that kind of stuff. Some of the what is it? The stuff with the red band on it with the countries and stuff.
The stuff with the countries you can't remember. Regional.
The regionals, yeah. Because I never buy that shit. I mean, I do every now and then. I'll get that shit, the
Like a
regionals,
Bushido.
right? But I mean, that stuff I think has some aged leaf in there as well. And so, but the Bahike, I don't think the Bahike has any. The only thing that's special about the Bahike is supposed to be the medio tempo, and then me doing research on it and everything like that, moving back and everything like that. I have read, rumor has it, that they stopped putting medio tempo in there like around 2012.
I heard that too.
And then they
knows?
started doing medio tempo again like around 18, 19,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a gap in there. And then there was a gap anyway where like they didn't even make them for like about a year and a half or whatever it was.
Right. Yeah. 17, 18. Basically, there are no Bahikes from those years. I think.
Yeah, so, but to your point, I mean, being able to get something and age it and smoke it is, I don't know, paying such a premium for something like any Cohiba really. I mean, like Cohiba in general is considered a premium brand, which the Cubans did a good job on it. I think they
Yeah.
did a good job on Cohiba. I mean, making it premium. I think they did a good job on the regionals because they're able to take their tobacco and disperse it out more expensively doing a second ban on the cigars.
People love their second bands.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this single band cigar?
This is really tight draw. It's
Is it tight?
Super tight draw.
Did you punch it? Did you cut it? What'd you do?
I cut it. Usually when they're like this, I mean, and it feels like, I mean, this is like, it's got a lot of tobacco in there. Was it, you were like, I saw you post something and you actually were talking about like the weight of the cigar. It was like overweight.
It was it was about a year or so ago. I got 2 boxes of Churchills, Romeo Churchills, and they were so heavy when they first came in. The first box that I opened, I actually went to Cuban Cigar website to look at how heavy a Churchill cigar is supposed to be. I didn't have a scale that was sensitive enough just to weigh a cigar down to like the 100th of a gram.
Okay.
So I bought one on Amazon, waited for it to come in, and then I weighed the cigars, and they were 25% overweight
Wow. That's a lot.
of what they should be. 25% more tobacco in them because they felt really like heavy.
And
they felt
tight.
very tightly packed. And then when I started smoking them, guess what? They're tight.
Yeah. Like, well, this feels like it's overweight. This feels like,
Because this feels about right. It feels good, and it's actually smoking fine. So I'm sorry that you got a tight one.
it's not,
Can you find a knot in there or anything? Because mine seems fine.
it's just kind of tight all the way. It's kind of tight all the way. So, actually, I have a perfect draw in that little thing right there.
Give that a shot.
Yeah, might do that. A little bit of tunneling of the cigar and everything.
Are you able? Is it so tight that you're not really able to reliably taste?
Yeah,
what's going on
it's kind of it's just I'm tasting a little bit of wood.
Well, don't do it off camera. Show the people your perfect draw technique, since we both
Oh.
use these things.
Yeah, I just kind of ram it in there a little bit.
Is that
and-
okay that the screen just went off?
Yeah, it's
There we go.
just a screensaver. Yeah, I just put it in the thing, and it doesn't feel. I mean, I'm not getting like a knot though. It's like there's a lot of tobacco in there. It's almost like that. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe you can help it out a little bit. Do you have one of the early perfect draws?
Yes, I do.
I feel like they were made a little bit different.
They were actually when talking with Rod Kurthy.
Because I have one of the later ones. I waited a long time before I said, okay, I'll buy one.
This one's the old model. Because the new ones have a thing on the top too, where you can screw it off. Because
Yeah.
people don't clean the tobacco off, and they just ram it back in there. And so he made a thing where you screw it off, and you can actually put a pipe cleaner through there and get the tobacco out. It's like a little orange tip. This is the original one. So the original was kind of a spiral all the way down. It's all one continuous or contiguous.
Yeah, like a drill bit.
Yes, like a drill bit. The new ones are individual conical barbs that go down
Gotcha.
5 deep or
More
whatever
like
it
a
is.
fish hook.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. But yeah, he made it to where it's conical, right? So it's like goes down. But anyway, sometimes that helps and sometimes that works. But yeah, it just feels like there's a lot of tobacco in here. It's like they pack the shit out of it, which is, get
Well,
your money's
mine's
worth
good.
there.
I would call mine a. Yeah, you're not getting hardly any air in there, are you? I would call mine a Cuban Draw, meaning restricted but not tight.
Right, which is kind of what you want. I mean, like
Yeah.
when you smoke a Cuban cigar, when you
No wind tunnel.
you don't want a wind tunnel, which I've been running into a lot of that stuff with the New World stuff. Because I've been smoking a lot of New World cigars, and especially the Aganorsa leaf ones.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like I'm smoking an Aganorsa leaf, like especially the Signature series. And I'll look, it's because like I'm drawing on it, and it's like tons of air coming through, and then very little smoke. And then I'll turn it around, and I'll see like a hole about the size of the perfect draw, like in the middle of the ash.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like so, it's like there's a tunnel
Yeah.
going through.
It's not actually going through any tobacco. It's just clear shot.
Yeah, and it's like and it's been a lot, like consistently out of a box of 25, like 10 of the cigars would be like that at least.
Maybe there's a Banchado problem going on with that
I don't know.
cigar. I haven't had that problem. I've actually been really, since you mentioned the Signature series from Aganorsa, I've really been enjoying them in particular lately. But they don't have what you would call a closed or tight draw. They are pretty open,
They're pretty open, yeah. So you got to really watch when you cut.
like a Padron or that kind of a cigar.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of air.
There's a lot of air, but what's weird about a Padron though is you get a lot of air, but you get a lot of smoke.
You get a lot of smoke too, right?
It's like I don't know what they do. I don't know how they. I
It's
don't know.
magic.
It is. It's like magic leaves that they
That's what you
grow
get for
over
your
there.
$25. You get a little bit of magic.
Pretty much, but even the 1000 series cigars they smoke good, and they say it's the same tobacco, it's just not aged, right? So technically, you could buy a 2000 or 3000 series Padron and age them for 5 years, and it's supposed to be the same as
Tastes way different to me.
that just say it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they say. So, yeah, but yeah, so the Aganorsa leaf, I've been having issues with that. With the Signature series. I've been smoking the HVC Limitada 2015. And that's actually a pretty decent stick. And a lot of the smaller Illusione Epernets, like the Rosado and L'Elegance, yeah, which is like a Corona, like I guess a regular Corona instead of a petite Corona. Anyway, those have been fine, but they're kind of a little harsh. I mean, this tobacco here, you can really kind of taste the difference. Like, I don't know what it is, whether it's the fertilizer or I don't know what it is. But I mean, you can taste there's like, it's not as harsh. I mean, New World cigars can be really kind of harsh when you smoke them, especially when you retrohale a cigar as much as I do.
Yeah, we've certainly talked about that peppery tingle that you can get in the nose with a lot of, particularly Nicaraguan, right, cigars.
Yeah, I mean, most New World stuff is like that. Nicaragua seems to be the dominant type of tobacco that's in there. So, I mean, it's
Depends on the cigar.
yeah. I was looking at some stuff. What was it? Gosh, I can't remember. Cavallari or whatever it is.
I know the
One
one
with the
you're talking
gold
about. Yeah.
thing on there. That had like a Mexican San Andreas, Brazilian, and Honduran. I think Brazilian binder and then Honduran and Nicaraguan filler, which could be interesting. An interesting blend, and it's Maduro.
Especially with the San Andreas, that's become a very popular wrapper over the last couple of years or so.
More than a couple, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's doing that Mexican San Andreas. I think what is it? The Johnson folks over there, they do that Sancti Spiritus, which is, I guess, some type of Mexican. Isn't that the Sancti Spiritus, or is
What are
that
they
Nicaraguan?
using that on? Because that sounds familiar, but it's been a while.
The La Mission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So L'Atelier stuff from made through Tatuaje, right? But different, technically a different brand.
And that's like your boy, man. Pete's your boy.
I mean, he's not my boy. I haven't actually met the man.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, when it comes to Tatuaje cigars, you are a big Tatuaje fan.
There have been a lot of Tatuaje cigars over the years that I've liked. It's probably was, I think, the first boutique blend that I got into after I moved, from, before I get into Cubans, after I moved from smoking like, the Dominican Hoyo Excaliburs, the Dominican, or like Fuente, Hemingway stuff. When I got into a real cigar shop, the V-Cut, and started, looking around for other stuff, Tatuaje, they have a very big Tatuaje selection there because they were one of his first big retailers. And there was a lot to choose from, and they did a really cool job with, one-off releases and marketing for like the Monster series, which they've got a new Monster sampler coming out next month. Called the Monster Mash. I think it comes in a coffin-shaped box.
So are they going to do like
It's like one of each.
But they're going to do like a skinny and a big and because they have different like weird.
Yeah.
They have the
weird
skinny monsters.
sizes.
They have the regular monsters, right? But then they have like these one-offs where they're like kind of a figurado or something like that, or no?
They had the little monsters.
The little monsters.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So is it going to be like that, or is it just going to be like
The same? I read a couple of posts on it, a couple of social media posts on it.
Okay.
And it looked to me more like kind of a one of each of everything that's come out so far.
I mean, all the way back from like 2011.
Yeah, back to like Frank, Drac, Wolfman, Mummy, all that stuff.
So they're gonna like kind of reblend. They didn't save any of that tobacco, right?
Same blend, but new cigars.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And also I think it's going to include the new one, which is going to be called the Creature.
Okay.
Which is after the Creature from the Black Lagoon, of course.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of like the Illusion does the Singulari stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the Singulari, like stuff back. I think the Phantom was actually one of the first. I don't know, but I was like under the impression that they were just from them. But no, he's doing the same blend, but you know what I mean? Like he's doing it with new tobacco. It's not stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, as close, I would say probably realistically as close as they can get today to the original blend. Because who knows? I mean, it's been such a long time. Try to make a cigar you haven't really made. You've made different kind of versions of it, like you said, the skinny or the little, that came out 15 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, how
that
hard
you
is
haven't
that?
been making every year, so you don't have that ruler of consistency to say every single year you've got to self-correct a little bit.
Plus they don't have the tobacco probably to do that. Like Fuente, or a Padron or a Davidoff is a Davidoff, whatever, because they have all that tobacco. and they can just blend like, okay, there we go. All right, so yeah, so I haven't shot. See, normally when I shoot with you, it's like it's not going 29 minutes. So I'm shooting with a Canon camera, have a video function on there.
Oh.
So after 29 minutes, it's like,
Did you do the timer?
yes, I got the timer going now
great.
for 28 minutes.
Because it's a camera, not a camcorder.
Exactly.
Not a
So
video
they can sell it as a camera. I guess the taxes or whatever are less. Anyway, okay, so we were talking about that, and then we were talking about the what was it? Oh, you were talking about Jeremy Piven.
Yes, Piven and Dion Giolito of Illusione
Right.
are making a cigar together.
Right.
I guess you could say Illusione is making a cigar
For Jeremy
with
Piven.
Jeremy Piven or for Jeremy Piven, called the Piv Robusto. We don't have any details on it, but I was kind of curious about, like, it's just kind of a celebrity who smokes cigars, somehow started up this conversation with a cigar maker, and they decided that they were going to work together, quote unquote together, which really just means it's an Illusione cigar, and that's kind of the branding and the story that they're going to use behind it.
Okay.
But I was wondering what, what do you think if you were a cigar maker, how much actual cigar making is the celebrity name and spokesperson going to be doing? Are they going to be, trying the test blends and maybe having some input in that? Or are you going to, go through that whole process and say, here are two, pick one, and that's the one we're going to put your name on?
I think I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to be Dion Giolito. Okay. And I think
Good
Dion.
luck with that.
And I think that what Dion is going to do is what you're talking about, is that he's going to make, 5 different blends of cigar, and then Jeremy Piven's going to have to pick it.
Right.
I
So
think
he'll have 5 or 3 or whatever the number is that he actually likes and it would be okay with producing on some kind of a scale, and then he'll just kind of let Jeremy Piven.
Well,
or whoever pick.
I'm sure that he's probably going to ask for Jeremy's input on like what do you like, what are the notes you like.
Yeah.
So and he probably has smoked Dion stuff. I mean, I would hope that he has smoked a bunch of Dion stuff previously to that.
We would
right?
hope, yeah.
So I'm imagining that Dion knows that he likes to smoke certain blends within his range of cigars. So he's going to know, okay, Jeremy likes this. So he's going to make 5 cigars that kind of are along that line. I think that's what he'll do, something like that. And that's what the Cubans do when the, they come out with the, with the regional, like the Hunters and Francow, like prime example, the 225th. They had like, I don't know, 10 different cigars they rolled, 10 different blends that they kind of went through a round table that, okay, pick one.
So the people who run, the regional distribution for the UK or the regional distribution for Asia Pacific would say, okay, we want, a Toro size. Well, they wouldn't use the word Toro, but they'd say, like a Grand Corona size.
Minimum 50,000, I think.
Yeah, and then like medium full and, pigtail cap or something like that. And then they would come up with whatever that is. They would blend it together and they'd put that label on it and that would be the regional release for that year.
Yeah, I think that's what they kind of do, yeah. They kind of do that.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it even gets that in depth. I think that like Hunters of Francow said, we want a 225th. This is what we want. And
Have you had one of those, by the way?
no, I
haven't
not.
either. I remember when they came out, they were expensive,
Well, you
but
got to
they
get the
weren't
whole humidor.
crazy expensive. You just had to, like you say, you have to buy the whole schmear. And now they're crazy expensive, and it hasn't even been that long since that came out. What was that? 2015 something like that?
It's like baseball cards were in the late 80s,
my
early
God,
90s.
But it's only been like 5 or 6 years since that came out, and already it's like, I don't know, 8x what you would have originally paid
like
for.
I said, baseball cards. It's same
4X?
thing. Same thing. Like people were buying baseball cards, and like within a year or two, they were like going up 5, 10x
Yeah.
on the thing. Yeah, I cleaned that ashtray for you, just for you.
Oh, thanks. It's almost so clean that I was like, am I supposed to ash in here? There's nothing in there.
I actually, when I went to Switzerland and picked up my 1966 Cohibas in 2011, I bought that ashtray in Switzerland.
Oh, nice. You were
Did you-
feeling flush
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to get these special edition Cohibas and throw an ashtray in there too.
Yes. Yeah. I was in Switzerland, in Geneva. So I went to the Davidoff shop. And
Was it at the cigar? Because that's a cigarette ashtray, right?
Yeah, it's a cigarette ashtray. It was a different. I didn't buy it at the cigar shop. I just
But it
bought
evokes the city. It's got little.
And it was painted too. It
buildings.
had like
Oh.
it was like painted and had all these really cool, like, as you can see, like it's cast and like there's little scenes from Switzerland in that
Should we show
ashtray.
people so we're not just
Yeah.
talking about it?
I mean, you can see like little scenes of Switzerland in there. So like you have, this little house or castle here, and then you have this, little different scenes, and they were all painted. So
These were painted on here.
yeah, they were.
So
all,
what happened to the paint? Because it
went
looks like
away. I mean, that thing is old. I mean, it's like
10 years old.
over 10 years old. So, yeah, I mean, after, when you clean it up, and it gets dirty and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
if you paint metal, it's not necessarily gonna stay on there.
It was, it's a cheap souvenir, so
Right.
that I got in Geneva. So, yeah, of course, the Swiss chocolate, they think they like better than they think they're better than Belgian chocolate, and Belgian people think their chocolate's better than Swiss. I mean, that would be a war. I mean, what would they do?
We could do a Swiss versus
Belgian chocolate?
chocolate. Maybe throw a little Cadbury in there.
Is Cadbury's English, right?
Well, British. I think anything's better than American chocolate. American
Oh,
chocolate's
Hershey's now good?
pretty. I mean, if you compare it to great chocolates of the world, it doesn't even really. It's not even in the class.
I mean, how is it that it's all cocoa beans, right?
Yeah, but over here, I think they do different things with it. They'll add wax to it. They'll, it just isn't the basic ingredients of like milk and chocolate and, there's other stuff.
The way that they
I bet back in the day a Hershey bar was awesome, and today it just doesn't taste like anything. 'Cause it's too
Yeah.
much ingredients, and it's, it's corn syrup instead of sugar.
True, right? Yeah,
All for
definitely.
mass production.
Yeah. But okay, so getting back to Dion. So, and I was talking about before we got cut off on the thing was how that the Legrand class Rex, so I think it's going to be more along that line there too as well.
Oh, interesting.
Right, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that gold miner guy really had a lot of input in it.
Right.
He just made him he goes, I want a petite Corona. I don't have a lot of time to smoke.
Yeah.
And he blended him a cigar and said, here you go. And the guy goes, oh, this is great. And he's like, oh, okay, So I think it's going to be more with Jeremy Piven. It's going to be like that. I
Yeah.
don't think it's going to be like where Jeremy's like,
Just
at the
some
factory.
general, this is what I like in a cigar, and then it's like, oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like that. Okay, so Regis does that most expensive cigar in the world. You've heard about that, right?
I thought that the most expensive cigar, more expensive than the Gurkha, whatever. Bullshit thing
Yeah.
that they do.
So Regis, what they do is it's like, I don't know, $500,000 or something like that.
Whoa.
Okay. And you go and you actually blend your cigar, and then they give you,
Oh,
and
wow.
they fly you over on a jet.
I think for $500,000, you could get pretty close to just like starting your own little cigar line.
I'm pretty sure it's $500,000, yeah. So they fly you over on a jet. I mean, it's the whole package though. So they'll fly you over on a jet, do special blending for you and everything like that, and then
Yeah.
they come out with your cigars. And then I don't know how many cigars you get. You get a lot of cigars too, as well. But Regis does that. I mean,
that's
that's more
interesting.
immersive than say doing what I think he's doing with Jeremy Piven
Yeah.
or whoever else.
That's like the rich guy who has more money than he knows what to do with, decides to go, hey, I'm going to, these are the cigars I'm going to hand out to my buddies. They're going to be my cigars. But he doesn't actually want to start a cigar making company.
Right.
So that's like the interim step. But I feel like for $500,000, you could probably go down to Nicaragua,
Yeah.
find yourself a grower that has a factory, and just be like, hey, I want to do this, and they'll put a price on it, and they'll be like, how many do you want? How far, how many years worth of allotment of each type of tobacco can you afford to buy? And I feel like you could maybe get close for that amount of money.
You
even
could,
today.
I mean, seriously, like, isn't that what Illusion does? I mean, John Huber, I mean, he's even less.
Right.
John
Front heads.
Huber basically tells the company or the factory, hey, I want a new cigar. I'm going to name it this. They send him 5 or 10 samples, and he picks one.
Yeah, he doesn't have his own leaf. He doesn't grow it. He doesn't have a
No.
factory. He just does
Sells
the
it.
marketing
He sells it.
and sells it.
Yeah. I mean, for $500,000, you can at least do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you could even like
Somebody will take $500,000 from you
Yeah.
to provide you that service.
Absolutely. And, or like, I mean, when you go with say, Dion and Pete, they just take in what they have there, right? And then they and then they blend it themselves, though. They work with the growers,
Right.
though. They don't have their own fields and their own leaf and stuff like that. They work with the growers. Now, I'm pretty sure that they have certain growers that they always go to,
Yeah.
right now, because they're so established.
For existing cigars, definitely.
Right. And so, but at the end of the day, right, you could even probably, do, like you said, do something like that. Go down to the factory, like, who's like the big guy for Pete Johnson? What's the guy's name?
Is it through Oliva?
What? Not AJ Fernandez, but anyway, whoever it is
Esteban.
that is down there. Because I was just reading about something Tatuaje. There was a factory down there that they were doing it. Oh, the La Mission stuff. You can go down there and talk to that guy at the factory and say, hey, they've got stuff down there.
Sure.
Where you could do that. So yeah, I mean, for $500,000, I mean, you can probably cut that down to $250,000 and still have a really stellar.
You might. I mean, we're talking out of our ass here. We don't know how much things cost, but that sounds like a lot of money to someone in Nicaragua.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I think that you could probably go down to Nicaragua, and I mean, I bet freaking Drew Estates would even like do for $500,000. I mean, Drew Estates would probably like roll
Yeah.
you stuff with on women's thighs and all this kind of stuff for you.
I don't know about that, but they'd come up with a label for you and put it on a cigar.
Guaranteed. Yeah. I mean, so like, because Drew Estates does that whole thing, right?
The barn smoker event?
No, down in Nicaragua, where you go to Nicaragua, and then you go to their fields and their factory and everything down in Nicaragua, and you smoke as many ligas as you want. I mean, they got them like coming out their butt there, right? And so it's like a 4 or 5 day immersive thing. So I would imagine if you had $250,000, you could probably go, I want to.
That's the one where you come back with a certain amount that is your blend, like
I
just
think
for personal use.
you
that kind of thing?
actually can, do like a little blending thing in there. Or if you can name stuff and they actually name it after what you named it and things, it's called Cigar Safari or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I've
So-
heard of that.
Yeah, you can just say, well, I mean, your Safari's $5,000, but I've got $250,000. So I
Right.
want the Safari Jungle Book. I want Jungle Cruise. Like, I want the
Right.
Rock.
I want boxes.
Emily Blunt to.
Oh, don't get me started on Emily Blunt.
I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying?
Big fan, Emily, if you're watching. If you're out there in the audience, let's talk cigars.
Emily Blunt.
No Krasinski. He can stay home.
Was she married or something like that?
She's married to John Krasinski from The Office.
Oh, okay.
They have a bunch of kids. Not that it shows.
I had no idea. I just know the name with the jungle thing with the Rock.
But
And
like other
she was in The
things.
Devil Wears Prada.
Yes, among other things.
She was in
Devil
that.
Wears Prada. Remember the sci-fi movie Looper? She was in that. Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, that sci-fi movie also.
Oh, she was in that too. Edge of Tomorrow.
Sunshine Cleaning.
That's right. she
Amy
was
Adams.
a badass in Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes, big time.
She was the angel of.
Angel of some city
City.
in France. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Emily Blunt.
They're doing a sequel, I hear.
Are they really? And actually, that movie was.
Great.
It was pretty good.
fantastic.
I mean, I was
I love
actually
Tom Cruise too. So.
like my buddy and I. What we do is we'll sit in the garage and like watch movies, right? And I'm a big old movie fan.
You mean the old Smoking Gorilla guy?
No,
Different
guy
guy.
named Mark. Yeah, that I know down there. And so we'll sit in the garage and we'll watch old movies and stuff. Because like I said, I like watching older movies. I like watching just old classics. And he's more of a new. He's like you. He's like a Star Wars.
I like all of them.
No,
I like
I
old
know you
classics
do,
too.
but you really kind of when it comes to movies, you know your Star Wars, right?
Sure.
Right? You know.
I mean, I'm not like I don't have like a
What about
costume
Star
or
Trek?
anything. I would consider myself more of a Star Trek
a
guy
Trekkie,
than
right?
Star Wars, but I like both.
Right. But I'm just saying, so you know the ships, like, okay, well,
Yeah.
this was the generation. And oh, and he's in a Twilight Zone too, right? So like,
Oh.
we'll be watching a classic movie, and I'll be like going, "Oh yeah, that guy was in that Twilight Zone." I mean, it's like 6 degrees of Twilight Zone with him, like right. It's like every movie we do, he's like, if there's some character in there that he notices, like, "Oh, that guy was in Twilight Zone," or "That guy was in a Star Trek," or "That guy was in
Well,
a."
there were like William Shatner was in the Twilight Zone, right? Or just Meredith was on the Twilight. I mean, they just had real actors. Plus, it was a long time ago, so they got some actors when they were just kind of starting off, and then they became big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he'll get it down to like, well, but that guy was in the only episode where Rod Serling was in that episode with him. I mean, he's
Yeah.
like that.
So he's like a zone head.
He's all three. I mean, like he's a Trekkie. He knows his Trekkie. He knows his Star Wars, like
Yeah. So
crazy.
he's a nerd, like a
Yeah.
Generally.
And his Twilight Zone is just like,
yeah.
hands down, really, really good. Well, you and what's the one guy's name? The actor guy's name? What's his name? That you hang out with?
There's a few of them. Delete?
Delete.
Yeah.
You and Delete will sit there and nerd out. Like I was like,
Oh, yeah.
because you guys were like, we were at the V Cut one night, and you guys were like sitting there talking back and forth, and I'm like, going, this is what I want to listen to when I'm talking, when I'm sitting here smoking a cigar. I don't want to hear about politics. I don't want to hear about like, whatever. I just want to hear about sports, or like nerding out on movies and stuff like that. That's what I want to hear about. You know what I mean? So it's like listening to you guys go back and forth.
Or
was
cigars.
really, really fun. I mean, it was like really, really fun because you guys were like, I forget what you guys were talking about though, but you guys were like, I was just like going, man, this is great. Just listening to this. It was fun.
I think I remember that. I believe Star Trek did figure into that in some way.
Something like that.
Because he's more of a Star Trek guy as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's fun.
Yeah, this is still a tight draw.
Are you getting some flavors out of it? Because I don't want to talk about mine until you can actually.
I'm really also. I mean, it's
Taste
just,
yours.
I mean, there is a bit of a sweetness in there on the cigar. Definitely, there's a little bit of a sweetness on there, but really, I mean, it's a really tough draw. I mean, I'm not getting a lot of smoke,
Yeah.
and so I'm not able to retrohale it. Look at that, how that ash is going on there. Isn't that funky?
It's funky. Yeah, mine's not doing that.
Yeah, it's like weird. Like
Regular
it's got
ash.
that. So like you want to see like a point in the middle right there for your cigar,
cone.
but you don't want it to be like a crown.
Yeah.
This is like a crown.
Yeah, it goes high and then in.
Yeah, and then there's
back
an
up
indent
again.
in there, and then there's like the outside of the thing, so
Yeah.
you can see like everything around the middle, and the outside is smoking, and the middle is not smoking so much as well as the outside.
It's funny that it hasn't opened up. Has it opened up a little as you've smoked? Because you're about halfway.
It has opened up a little bit. I'm getting a little bit more smoke.
So, are you familiar with the Por Larranaga Petit Corona? Mm-hmm. Also called the PLPC, for those who smoke a lot of them. I always buy them in a 50 cab box. So they're one of my favorite cigars after like 4 years, 5 years, because you get that caramel,
Sweetness in there, yeah.
burnt caramel molasses sweetness, right? It's good, like kind of a coffee breakfast cigar, but some other things. This tastes kind of like that to me. Obviously, it's a much bigger ring gauge. The Corona, you're talking a 40 ring gauge is a 52, but it's got regular Por Larranaga, DNA, if you will, in it, which a lot of the regionals that are Por Larranaga for me don't have that. They just don't taste like Por Larranaga. They don't taste like a Monte Carlo. They don't taste like a PLPC, but this kind of does. It's just a fat version of that. And so I've been enjoying it. Obviously they're new. They just came out this year. So I may have another box somewhere kicking around, or I may just buy that, that kind of 3-box deal that's out there for $105 a box, and just try to stick one away and see what they're like in 4 years, because it doesn't taste like nothing, right? It tastes like there's something there that might resolve, and I know you're having problems with your particular cigar, but they could be really good.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And, getting back to, where you talk about the regional releases of the Por Larranaga, right? I mean, that makes sense that the regionals don't taste necessarily like a Por Larranaga, because if you have, wow, it came right off.
Yeah, I had the same experience with mine. It was almost
It's
like,
really weird. But to your point, like, right, they go, okay, this is for Andorra. Okay, so you're going to get we're going to give you 10 blends. And so they're like, they're not doing it like for the Pour Larranaga blend per se. They're just saying you're going to get 10 blends, and we're going to put a Pour Larranaga band on it, and we're going to make it for an Andorra, and this is what you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
I
a
think-
distinct possibility that's how that it works. I don't know. I don't know if they go, oh, we want to pour Larranaga and we want it to be this size and et cetera, and then they come out with that. I don't know how much control they actually have, the regional people who are working with Habanos to make those cigars for the following year or whatever.
Oh, the Cuban people?
Yeah.
They control everything.
No, I
pretty
mean
much.
the people who run like the regional distribution who are working with the Cuban people. I don't know how much how much control those regional people have in terms of selecting things. They may, in the end, like you're saying, just have to take
You mean
what
the
they're
person,
given.
the monopoly for like say like Hunters and Frankow,
Yeah.
or they don't have. I don't think they don't really have a lot of say. Like you said, they're gonna make a humidor. They want a humidor like this. They're gonna put a bottle of booze in it. They'll have some ideas that they're gonna flip to them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I think that especially with the cigars, they're not gonna have a lot of say in that. I don't think that they have a lot to say.
That reminds me, how's your special friend doing?
I talked with him on the phone a couple weeks ago, and
You guys still in pretty regular contact?
yeah, we are actually. We're both kind of bummed out because like the plan was to do an annual trip over there once a year, and
Well, they put
obviously,
the kibosh on that for 2 years now,
yeah,
basically.
2 years. So I'm hoping to get out there next year, around. I mean, March, April is a good time to go. So that would be nice to do that. So yeah, I mean it's all good. It's just that
I imagine if you're vaxxed, it wouldn't be that much of a problem at this
yeah,
point.
I think you still have to
Do you have to quarantine once you get there for like 5 days or something?
a week.
Oh, that's a long time to quarantine. I mean, when you're paying for a hotel, basically, like since you mentioned Dilip, when he had to travel to do a movie last year, he had to quarantine for 2 weeks because there was no vaccine yet. It was like this time last year, but they, he's working for a movie, so they paid for putting him up and for feeding him for 2 weeks. If it's just on your own dime, and you're going, whether you call it a vacation or working vacation or whatever, a week of just sitting in a hotel room overseas just to prove that, I'm not going to get everybody in this country sick, that's a lot.
Well, I think Canada, I mean, because a lot of the Canadians were going down to Mexico and getting stuck down there.
I've heard that.
And because it was like $5,000 to come back and sit in the hotel for a week, it was $5,000. So it's like, am I going to just stay in Mexico for whatever and wait, or
Right.
am I going to pay? So a lot of them, they were stuck down there.
Could you stay in Mexico and do your quarantine and then come back?
No, you can't do that either.
can't do that either?
No, you gotta. Yeah.
Jeez.
And now I think Mexico is doing a thing where you have to test on the way out as well, I think, or whatever. So, yeah. It's pretty crazy. I mean, the whole world has just changed with.
Oh man, I'm jonesing so bad to travel, and I took, like I said, in that window when it looked like if you were vaxxed, you were kind of, could do what you wanted, more or less normal. We did take a couple of trips. We took a couple of flights, one to Northern California and one out to Yellowstone, Bozeman, and it was great. But all it did was whet my appetite to take more trips, like your trip to Asia, or to go back to Europe or whatever. I think I told you right as COVID was coming on in March of 2020, March of 2020. I was just like, my finger was hovering over the enter button to buy a trip to Italy, to go buy those Punch Mantua, because they were just just about to come out.
Okay.
That 50 cab, which are now, they're going for double what they came out with, what they originally went for a year and a half ago. But I just wasn't able to do it. And ever since then, I've just been like, when can I go? When could I go? But haven't wanted to pull the trigger. I just don't, I don't want to get anybody sick. I don't want to get sick. I want everything to be like really okay before I start traveling internationally again.
Do you really think everything's going to be really okay ever, though? I don't think so.
I mean, at some point, it'll either be everyone will just go, this is how it is now, Sometimes people are going to get sick. Everyone should be vaccinated. People will have to wear masks on the flight all the time, and that's just how it'll be now. Just like after, since September 11th was just yesterday, the anniversary, 20th anniversary. Just like now, we have long lines at check-in and all kinds of regulations about how much liquid you can bring, and that's just how it is now. Maybe it'll be like that, or maybe someday it'll get to the point where the virus is more or less eradicated and we can go back to what it was like 2 years ago. I don't know.
I think people are trying to forget. I mean,
There's
what
certainly
really
a lot of people
amazes
trying
me
to
though
forget.
is that, okay, they were talking about super spreader events, right? So why are football games that are going, baseball games, and the U.S. Open, where I see people without masks on all over the place, how come those aren't like considered super spreader events?
I think U.S. Open is you have to be vaccinated in order to get in there. And I think you have to wear a mask unless you're actively eating. It's just like on a plane, unless you're actively eating or drinking. All of the stadiums, even the ones that don't require a vaccination, which a lot of them don't, a lot of them do too, are saying, if you're not actively eating or drinking, you have to be. But almost all of those things are outside. U.S. Open is outside. Most baseball and football stadiums are outside. It's, also you have a lot of people who are vaccinated now. So like,
I'm just
theoretically,
saying.
the chances
I'm just
are
saying. It's
better
kind of
of
weird
not
to
getting
me.
it.
It's just kind of weird because,
I
I was
agree
looking
with
at the
you.
U.S. Open, and
It's
like
weird.
probably 90% of the people were not wearing a mask in the
Right.
stands today.
Right. But
I
you
mean-
may have to be vaccinated in order to get it. I'm pretty sure that
Well,
was
New York is a
vaccinated
special
only event.
circumstance, like to your point, right? I mean, you have to have like, I have a copy of it on my phone. I have to, my card, I took a picture
Yeah.
of it, right? And then I've got this QR code too, where I registered with California for that thing too, which is kind of,
I need to do that because all I have is the picture of my card on my phone.
yeah, and the thing is too, by registering to California, they gave me $50 to,
Oh. Just to
so I
spend on
used it
cigars?
at Ralph's. No, it was like like a virtual credit card, or you could do Ralph's, and I shop at Ralph's all the time. So it's like I just do $50 worth of Ralph's. I mean, I spent that in one shopping
Sure.
at Ralph's. So
Very the dude-esque for you to shop at Ralph's.
what's that?
It's very much the dude-esque for you to shop at Ralph's.
Yes, very much, absolutely.
I like Ralph's. I just don't have one near me.
Yeah,
I shop at Gelson's, which is ridiculously pricey, but
It's
it's
like
very
whole wallet.
convenient to where I
I
am.
mean-
yeah, it's crazy. I
mean,
swear
it was-
it's 50% more expensive.
it was
than
whole
Ralph's.
wallet before it was whole wallet was whole wallet.
Right.
I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
I mean, god dang, man, Gelson. You know what I really liked about Gelson's though too was the fact that they had the. Does yours have this at the wine section where you can take a bottle? They have a like a thing with water that's circulating, and it's below freezing.
Chill it?
Yes,
I don't think so, but I don't buy wine.
Well, I'm
You'd
just
have
saying
to
that-
ask my girlfriend.
it was like a. Whoop, hold on. Okay, so but no, they had a Gelson's down in Newport, and I was just like, what is this thing with the water?
Well, that's also Newport. Like,
Yeah, and
even
it was
more
like
money
it's
than
like a
that.
tank, like this big around, right? It's like this, and the water's circulating. It's below freezing.
yeah.
Right, so it's like
So
30.
if you want to buy a bottle of white wine off the shelf, you can immediately chill
Put it
it
in
to
there.
where it's supposed to be.
Right, and it takes like I don't know, like 10 minutes. You put it in there for 10 minutes, and it's like chilled and boom, done. Right. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Gelson's like high end. I mean, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the produce is really good. The meat's really good. It's
Mm-hmm.
also very expensive. Meat is another thing. The prices have just gone crazy, especially out here in California, but I assume in general. I think I just paid over $4 a gallon for gas.
Yes. Now, if you shopped at Ralph's, you could get $1 a gallon off, which is what I do
I would love to have $1 a gallon off of my gas.
at Shell.
At Shell. I don't even know where there's a Shell there. I'm sure there's a Shell somewhere. But
Yeah. So Shell is basically, so you go to the place wherever it's at, like down in Orange County, it's like $3.89 for like the Arco, right? And then Shell's like $4.45. So if you're actually getting about 40 cents a gallon off if you get $1 a
Right.
gallon off.
right.
But it's still, they have the bag anyway. So that's what I've been doing lately.
But the good thing is not having to commute anymore. I drive from my house to the cigar lounge and back. That's most of the driving. Like, this is the longest trip I've taken in months.
Months. I wish I could say that. I'm going back. Well, because okay, yeah, things have been going. So I got in an accident.
You
Like
told me that.
like June 12th, I got in an accident,
Car accident.
car accident. So I've been going to like treatment for the past 2 months for my neck and my back and my hip and everything like that. So
Wow.
yeah, and anyway, so that's been
You
like
seem okay though.
yeah. Well, it's been June, July, August, September. So it's been a couple months.
Oh yeah, so you've already been doing this. The
I've been
whole
doing
time.
treatment since beginning of July.
Hmm.
So all of July, all August, and then so far all of September too. I've
Mm-hmm.
been doing treatment as well. So, but yeah, I had to get a new car, and because
Oh, wow.
the girl T-boned me. So
Oh.
I was going through an uncontrolled intersection,
Mm-hmm.
and she just turned right into me and hit the side of my car, like right here, boom, and then totaled the whole car.
That sucks. Did they buy you a new car or most of a new car?
No,
No.
that was another thing too. So it's been a struggle. I've been out of work for a couple months, unable to work, and then finally was able to buy a car, and the money that I got for my car didn't even pay for replacing my car. That wasn't enough money to replace my car. My car had 49,000 miles on it.
Mm-hmm. Which is not that much
No. I
Like a
looked
fourth.
for a car.
of my mileage on my car.
Yeah, I looked for a car with 49,000 miles in my car, and it was $2,000 more than what they wanted to pay me.
Same thing happened to my girlfriend. They like so lowball the insurance company just
Yeah.
like gives you not nearly. It's not replacement value. If it was replacement value, you would get enough money to be able to go out and buy that car again.
Or okay, so another thing too is like, okay, you gave me the lowball rate on this car, okay, then just get me that car.
Right.
Get whatever
Sure,
it is.
find one.
The one that's for sale, that's for whatever 9,000
Yeah.
whatever with the tax and license, it's 10 something, which is what they paid me for my
Uh-huh.
car. Get me that car.
Right.
Go ahead, and it's got the same miles. Great.
Yeah.
But they were doing like this weird thing, like I think one or two cars out of the ones that they showed in the estimate or whatever it was had my miles or less. The other ones were like double my miles.
Especially right now, with car shortages, chip shortages on new cars are affecting the prices on used cars, and everything's so much more expensive
Yeah.
than it should be right now. I mean, if you go to buy a new car that should cost $30,000, they want $35,000 for it,
Yeah.
just because there's so much demand, and like the people who can't pay that price are buying used cars instead, so it's driving up the prices of the used cars. I
Exactly.
could probably get right now what I paid for my car 10 years ago used if I were to sell it.
Yeah. I know. And that's the thing too. So I started looking for a new car or a car. I was looking for a used car. Like usually the trick is like, oh, you get a car that's like 2 years removed from
Right.
the year, right? So like 2019, maybe 2020.
Mm-hmm.
The used cars in those years that I was looking at were within a grand or two of a brand new car.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'll just buy a new car.
My friend, who's a cigar smoker, was telling me the other day he bought a Raptor truck. I think it's a Ford, and it's a gigantic truck with a crazy engine and like every bell and whistle that you can get. It was like a $75,000 pickup truck, and he just got a call from his dealer last week offering him $80,000 for the truck. He's had it for a year and a half, and offering him more money than it cost him to buy the truck a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Because
Crazy.
somebody out there wants that truck so bad that this dealer can still make money off that person, even overpaying him what he originally paid for the truck. Insane.
Yeah. But we don't have inflation.
It's taking different forms. Our cigars,
Our food.
our meat,
Yeah.
automobiles.
Yeah. But there's no inflation. So what else is used to measure inflation? I mean,
I don't know. I can tell you that, from my experience and from a lot of people that I've spoken to, it's also an employee's market right now. If you're going job hunting, like you're going to get better offers than you were getting, 2 years ago. You're going to be able to negotiate
'Cause they
much
need
better on your
people.
side because there's definitely a dearth of employable people out there.
Wow.
A lot of
Crazy.
people. There was a New York Times article that said something like 1 out of 4 Americans or 1 out of 5 changed jobs like over the last year. And in May of, which is the month coincidentally that I changed jobs, in May of this year, some super high percentage of people just changed jobs.
Wow.
And so employers who are also like trying not to lose all their good long-time employees with all this institutional knowledge are having to do things like consider making people remote, come up with different perks for people, try to hold on to them, so go to your boss and ask them for more money right now. This is the time. This is our moment as the workers of the world. Get that money.
Yeah. Well, I
They
can't.
they can't afford to lose you because then they have to go through all the expense, which is considerable, of hiring someone new, recruitment, retraining, all the benefits, all that stuff.
Well,
You
my
can't right now because you're physically not able to
No,
work.
I'm scheduled to go back to work now.
Are you getting
yeah,
there?
I'm going. Yeah, I'm able to work now. I actually have this month. So June, July, and August I was off. September, this is September now. I'm able to, but I haven't gone back to work yet, because I had vacation in the middle of the month. So I'm thinking at the end of the month I can fly something, but I'm kind of easing my way back into it because. I'm just like with my hip and everything like that. I've just started doing walks again and
Yeah.
all that other kind
Because
of
you're
stuff.
on your feet the entire time.
Right. So, but yeah, September, I actually am able to go back to work,
Oh.
and
Well, good for you.
yeah, I'm able to do that. So,
Will you stick with domestic from now for a while, or will you just open it up?
yeah, you know what? I could at the beginning of this month there was a Narita trip in there, but it's like I'm so tired of going to a foreign country and then having to stay in my hotel room
Yeah.
for 1, 2, 3,
That's right.
4 days.
Yeah, that sucks.
Like I literally,
What's the point?
what did I tell you that I went to Singapore? I was in Hong Kong and Singapore,
No.
actually on a trip. So this is back right when everything was just raging last year,
Yeah.
and so we deadheaded to Hong Kong we ferried a plane to Hong Kong because they were just opening up Singapore again. Okay,
So it was an empty plane?
yeah, we ferried it.
Oh.
So we ferried a flight to Hong Kong. Had a layover in Hong Kong. It was great. I was able to go out in Hong Kong. I went to a cigar lounge, smoked cigars, blah blah, all that other kind
See
of stuff.
anybody you know? Did you see anybody
No,
you
I
know?
couldn't do that.
Oh.
I actually called him. I said, "Hey, I'm in Hong Kong." He's like, "I can't see you. We're, can't do that.
Lockdown.
We're locked down." So, but I was able. I mean, everybody. It was weird. So anyway, so we get on the flight to Singapore, and we get to Singapore, and that Singapore airport was like empty. Like the terminal, there's nobody in there. Like nobody. And then they escorted us with police and everything like that to the hotel. And I was stuck in my hotel room for 2.5 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Sydney, I went down to Sydney, same thing. I was stuck in my hotel room for 2.5 days in Sydney. So it was like, I could have picked up on Rita. I didn't know whether or not you were able to go out there. So it was like, I don't really want to sit in a hotel room again like that.
Yeah,
So,
I get it.
Yeah.
Just stick domestic and not have to worry about it.
Or Hawaii. Now, Hawaii was actually kind of interesting because we had a special exemption or whatever it was over in Hawaii. So,
I know that Hawaii right now, and Hawaiians in particular, are very anti-tourists from the mainland. It's been overrun because it was like the safe, quote-unquote, spot for a lot of Americans to go because it's part of the United States. So they were just like completely inundated with tourists. And they were causing all kinds of problems, no rental cars.
well,
Et cetera, et cetera.
yeah, they had a problem. Well, this is like maybe within the past 5 months, maybe, because before that it was totally empty, like nobody there. Like I was doing.
Yeah, it was this year. It was like this spring. and
Yeah,
summer.
I was doing like before that. I was doing Honolulu's and stuff like that, and literally there would be nobody on the street, like nobody. Like I'd walk down the street. I actually was taking pictures, the nighttime pictures at night, and there was nobody at night in
Which is
downtown
very
Waikiki,
unusual, yeah.
Honolulu. No one,
Yeah.
and it was totally empty. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting because it was like kind of like my own. It's like Do you ever
It's
see
almost-
Vanilla Sky?
It's almost kind of like how you want it in Hawaii, right? You don't want crowds of people.
I know.
You
I
want to
know.
be able to just like do that Hawaii chill
Yeah.
vibe, which is the reason you go there. I mean, you were working obviously, but still, it couldn't have been that bad.
Well, yeah, it was pretty awesome actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, and then I would order food and, whatever. And it was great. I mean, walking around and stuff like that, it was just like really cool there. But of course, it was bad for commerce there.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side, too, I had a layover in Kauai. And this was probably right when COVID was like really getting heavy duty. And I was in Kauai. And they were still allowing people in restaurants. I ate in a restaurant with people in Kauai like nothing was going on. The rest of the world was like, but I sat in Duke's with one of the flight attendants I was there with. And we sat in Duke's and ordered food and stuff like that. And it was like crazy.
I like Duke's.
So, yeah, that's where we were. We were in there. We were in Duke's. And that was on Kauai. But, yeah, I mean, so yeah, I want to just kind of, it was a trip like, being in Denver, like nobody out in Denver, like you're staying downtown Denver and like nobody on the streets. It was like an apocalypse. Like it was weird.
Yeah.
San Francisco was like, I had a bunch of layovers in San Francisco, like 24-hour, 36-hour layovers in San Francisco because they they went down to like 1 or 2 flights a day. So you would work a flight like a 10 a.m. flight and get into San Francisco like around 1 o'clock, right? And into downtown. And like, so you wouldn't leave until the next day. So you were there like for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like very empty.
Yeah.
Pretty trippy.
It's a weird time, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Still, I thought, like a lot of people, I thought we'd be out of it by now, but that's not happening.
Yeah, so this is, like, it's a little woody to me. And it got a little bit of that sweetness in there. And, but, I'm trying to keep it from heating up and getting too hot, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
From the draw on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have to keep puffing on it in order to get smoke.
Yeah, because then it gets super, super bitter and super kind of tannic and everything like that on there. And so trying to keep it from heating up.
We can let it go and smoke something else. I mean, I
hate
feel
to
like,
waste a cigar. I mean, it's like,
Well, but if it's not smoking well.
And the thing is, too, is like I was mentioning earlier, was the fact that, like I said, with the New World stuff, or you like to say non-Cuban stuff, it's just a different type of a. It's almost like a. God, it's more harsh, like it's stronger or whatever. And I know that their fermentation process or whatever, according to them, right, is that. Well, it's ready to smoke now, and we ferment the shit out of this stuff, and it's smokable. But like when I retrohale that cigar, whether it's a Tatuaje or an Illusione, some of the Illusione stuff, whatever, Crown Heads, Caldwell, Fuente, Padron. The only one that really doesn't do that is some of the Fuente stuff, and actually the main line, the Hemingway stuff, and like that stuff, not the Opus, because the Opus can be kind of harsh too, and Davidoff. Those are the two, to me, that I don't get that really kind of a tinny. Sometimes you get that tinny kind of metallic, kind of an aftertaste, and it like really kind of makes you like cough in the morning too. Minerally, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, it also depends. I mean, it's kind of the luck of the draw. If you go into a lounge and you buy a cigar out of a box, most non-Cuban boxes are not labeled with a month and a year code the way Cuban boxes are. So you don't, even if you were to look at the box, which let's face it, most of the time we don't when we go in and just pick something and buy it, you wouldn't know how long that's been sitting there. How long has it been since it was rolled and shipped from the factory? I have, a habit at the V-Cut where I go most of the time of like trying to pick the new stuff that comes in because I've pretty much smoked everything else that's in the humidor. So I want to smoke something interesting. And so I'll know that it's new. I'll know that it has been rolled very recently. And having done that, over a period of years, in a lot of cases, there's a big difference between when you smoke something the week that it comes into the shop and when you smoke it 3 to 6 months later. on the non-Cuban stuff. It can really settle down over that period
Yeah,
of time.
it can. It can. Yeah, but so the Signature Series, I've been buying boxes of those.
The Aganorsa leaf. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the one with the purple, orange, and yellow band, right?
No.
Oh, which one? The one
It's-
with the like gold or silver on the thing? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Now those boxes, if you look at the box, it tells you 2000. These ones say 2019.
Okay. So it's got some time on it already.
You got 2 years on it, and I still will get that.
Interesting.
But then I'm also having the draw problems with those as well.
And those are shipped in cello, right?
Yes. You have a cello with that. It's a great presentation. You get like a,
Oh yeah, they're great looking cigars.
yeah, it's a wooden box. You open it up. It's got the little, the felt, one pull, like Fuente does or whatever. And then it's wrapped in cello, so you pull that out. And then it has the gold
Yeah.
wrapper
sleeve.
around it.
Aganorsa's really like in the last few years they've really done a better job on their marketing.
And they're cheap. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as it goes for like a quality tobacco and everything like that, which is what they promote, is like, hey, we have quality tobacco.
Right,
We're
they
from
grow
seed,
their own.
Yeah, from seed to store, right? You're getting all of that quality and everything like that in there. But at the end of the day, I mean, like, when they smoke good, because I've been smoking those Corona Gordas, which I like those the best. I like that Corona Gorda. When those smoke good, they're really like, it's a good cigar. I really enjoy that cigar, even though it still has that mineral-y kind of thing to me as well, which is kind of a New World thing. I think maybe Nicaragua with the soil or whatever. I don't know. But I get it with, like I said, with a lot of Nicaraguan stuff in there. And
I'm happy to hear you talking more about non-Cuban cigars, because it isn't really traditionally your thing. You're really heavy-duty, aged, vintage Cuban cigar guy.
right?
But I know obviously you're spending some time at the lounges and buying what's available commercially here in the U.S.
No, I have been not going to lounges. I've been buying boxes online.
Oh, you've been buying online and smoking from them.
At home, yeah. I have been staying away from lounges. I've been
Yeah, I only smoke outside at lounges. I don't
Yeah,
smoke
I've been
inside at all.
I've been pretty much not going. I mean, I went to Cigar Warehouse yesterday and just picked up 2 sticks and left.
Which they they have a couple of tables outside, right? If you wanted to.
Yeah,
sit
I
and-
mean, and the thing is, I have like on layovers, I had a bunch of DC layovers where we stayed in Reston, and this was smack dab in the middle of the worst of COVID, like the worst. Reston was wide open. You could pay a drop-in fee and smoke in a lounge there.
Wow.
Yes, and I did it. But I just been more comfortable being at home. Especially with everything.
too.
And so, like,
I mostly have people over and we smoke. You've been there, smoking in
yeah,
my front
smoke
yard.
outside. Yeah, and so, at the end of the day, what I've been doing is, and like, I'm not like biased on. I don't want to say like, okay, this Cuban leaf is the best because I say so. I want to say that Cuban leaf has a better whatever because I've tried all the other stuff. So I'm constantly I'm trying stuff. And so what I found that works for me is that I've been going online and I'll pick up a box of stuff and then that way I can smoke the shit out of it, right? And then I get a good idea as to like, okay, I like that or I don't like that, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. But, to your point, I mean, on the Cuban leaf, it's just a different animal to me.
Well, not to be your typical Tatuaje fanboy, which you accused me of being earlier. I do like them quite a bit, a lot of their stuff though. I just thought of what one of the next cigars that we should review should be. Is the, do you remember the old Triumphador brand that they have? It's like a plain brown label. It just says El Triumphador. And I think the Lancero is like the main stick in that line. I don't really remember seeing other sizes before. They did an Old Man in the Sea Culebra thing, a little coffin several years ago. But they have come out with a like sort of a Robusto / Toro size, or Corona Gorda. I don't know exactly what they call it. And it's fantastic. And I don't think you're going to run into that same problem, especially in that size with the El Triunfador blend from Tatuaje.
You mean like with the mineral-y kind of a
Yeah,
thing?
it has more of there aren't that many non-Cuban cigars that have kind of that Cubanesque twang to them. There's a couple from Romacraft. There's this one. There's been a couple from Warped that have tasted that way to me. This is definitely one of them. So it's one that we should look at. They have them at the V Cut. Maybe we can even go to the V and grab a couple
Okay.
at some point, or maybe next time I'm there.
Okay.
I'll grab a couple and we can review them here.
Yeah,
But
I mean-
it's one that I would recommend. It seems like, given the specific type of exploration you're doing in the non-Cubans and wanting to avoid that minerally.
I mean, there's a time and place for all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's just like, maybe it's just also the strength of the tobacco, and it's really,
There's a lot more nicotine.
yeah, I mean, it's just a lot more, and I think that it's a combination of probably that as well, the strength and everything that goes along with everything, and then you pick up that mineral thing as well, and it's like, it's kind of like, it becomes more of a triple negative, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, the thing is though too is that what I know is that I think that a lot of people, not a lot of people, whatever, there's people out there that smoke it for the buzz.
Yes,
So
certainly.
especially like with Romacraft, you're going to get that. You're going to get it with Tatuaje. You're going to get
I
it.
don't think Romacraft is all that. I think Tatuaje is stronger than Romacraft as far as nicotine goes.
Yeah. A lot of the Illusione stuff that's not the Upper Nay line, you're going to get that with it.
Padrones too, frankly.
Padron,
You get up into the
absolutely,
higher end.
absolutely. The Fuente stuff, you're going to get that. Davidoff, not so much. Davidoff is more kind of, I think, refined or whatever.
I
And
never think I've smoked like an ass kicker Fuente that wasn't a opus, some kind of opus.
yeah, well, the Anejos.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The Anejos, you're
Right.
going to get
All
that.
of their sweet, you know, with that Maduro wrapper.
Right,
so,
but I mean, it's like,
yeah,
you know,
it's a big boy cigar.
Liga Privada,
Yeah.
you know, the
Well, I mean, short Drew Estates.
Right?
Kind of known for that.
right?
Yeah.
The nail in the nose, right? That kind of thing. So and those have become extremely popular with people because they want that buzz. And it's like,
Particularly a lot of people who transferred from being cigarette smokers to cigar smokers.
Sure.
I feel like they crave that nicotine where I don't.
right.
I don't, like, my body doesn't miss it. I don't think I have like a nicotine addiction, but I've also never had a Cuban cigar that afterward I was like, ugh. I
Well, maybe
need
some
to,
of the
you know,
farm
put
world
it down and
stuff.
take a break.
Maybe some of the farm world stuff I would imagine would be more along that line that are girthy. Because, okay, so there's a person that I know that said that Alejandro Robena used to like really, really strong cigars. And he smoked
Well,
one of his.
The Robena cigars from Habanos are strong, no question.
Yeah. So he had one of his farm rolled ones, like one that he rolled exclusively for him. And it was like muy fuerte.
Yeah.
Like he was like, it kicked his ass.
Right.
So I think that some of the farm rolled stuff, you'll get some of that as well, on the Cuban side of it. But I think that, to your point, not your mainline brands and markets that are for public consumption
Yeah.
around the world. I don't think you're going to get a lot of that.
Well, also in general, Cuban cigars are much more approachable than they used to be. Like they're making them now so that they are tamer, so that
Yeah.
everyone who smokes one won't turn green and never want a cigar again. You'll want another Cuban cigar.
Well, I think they took a page out of the book of the New World people because, you know, the New World people are like, hey, you can smoke ours now. Like Padron, that's their saying. You know, it's
Sure.
ready to smoke now. And to that point, though, I don't think that those cigars age that well. I don't
Right.
think that you age a New World cigar for 8, 10, 15, 20 years, and it's going to be that good.
Even the cigar makers, for the most part, they don't talk about that.
Right.
They're like, buy them, smoke them. They are blended. They are aged already. They're ready to go when they're shipped to your
Exactly.
retailer.
But I think the Cubans took a page out of that book. And I think with their newer stuff being as approachable as it is, I think that they have changed their processes and
Maybe
their,
cooking the leaves.
yeah, I think so. And I think that it's made it a lot more approachable, like you said,
But maybe less ageable.
but less ageable.
Because they're
Absolutely.
taking stuff out that normally would dissipate over time, and they're taking it all out
Right.
before it gets shipped.
And I think what they should do actually is they should fess up to that and just say, hey, this is what we're doing. We're overcooking this stuff.
Yeah.
You can smoke it now. And
But
then
these lines are still aficionado lines made to be
Right.
aged yourself that we're not touching. We're still doing it the same way, so that you know which ones to buy and age and which ones. You
yes,
know, to
they should
smoke
have
now.
like a, you know, age this one, or like,
Yeah.
or what they could do even, which would be even better for them.
Within each marca, they could have an allotment that they don't touch.
Well, they could do like a let's just say a D4, okay?
Yeah.
They can make a D4,
Right.
and then that's the one you smoke now, and then they have D4 Especiale,
Yeah.
right?
That's what I mean,
So
yeah.
you open the D4, and it's like, whoa, I got the barnyard, and it's like I need to put these down for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Unless that's what you like. If you like it really, strong off the bat, go ahead and smoke those now if
Yes.
you want. But they're made for aging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think
That's a great idea. They should totally do that.
I know they
Because
should.
I would pay more for the aging ones that I can put in the back of
Exactly.
my humidor for the next
Exactly,
2 to 4
because
years.
like there's a lot of people out there right now that are like going, okay, I'm getting this stuff, and it's tasting pretty good after a year,
Mm-hmm.
but you're like kind of worried, like, okay, if I keep these cigars for 15 years, are they going to be? Is there going to be anything left?
Right.
And I don't think there is
Right.
on the Cuban side. So I think if they did, but I mean, because things work the way they work in Cuba, I don't know how they could pull
they
that
don't.
off.
Also, they're not great at business-wise, just kind of pivoting.
Well, okay, and a prime example with this whole aged thing and everything like that, okay, the Anahados program, right? Which they discontinued the Anahados program.
It's over now.
It's done. I'm pretty sure that it's done. But so anyway, so the Anahados program, they they took these cigars, they put them in boxes, they aged them for 5 years, and then they sold them, right?
At quite a bit of a
Profit,
markup.
right? Quite a big markup. And at the end of the day, the only one that I smoked that was worth a darn so far has been the Monte Cristo Churchill Anahado,
Which I have not had.
which is the only one that I've smoked. All the rest of them taste like paper.
You smoked the Partagas,
I've
Foyo,
smoked, yes,
Romeo.
yes. But I haven't smoked the Churchill, the really expensive one. That one, I haven't smoked that one
Still
yet.
available.
I know, it's like for $1,000 a box or whatever it is.
It's like 7.
But yeah, so anyway, but at the end of the day, and I was talking with Min Ronnie about this, and he's like, well, okay, dude, he goes, first of all, where are they going to store the cigars? Okay? Are they going to put them in a temperature controlled environment with the right amount of humidity and
No,
the
they're
right
just going to be
temperature?
somewhere in Cuba.
Yeah, it's going to be in a warehouse or
Right.
whatever it is. So right there, you're at a negative because it's going to be at 70, 80 degrees. It's
Right.
going to be,
High humidity.
70% humidity. So all that stuff is leaching
Higher
out,
than that,
leaching out,
probably.
leaching out, right? So right there, they have a problem with that to begin with.
So in other words, not the same effect on the cigar. Even if they actually did what they said they did, which was roll the cigars, put them in boxes, and store them before they sold them, right? Which, who knows? They probably did some version of that, right? But even if they did, it's not going to be the same thing as you or me taking them, putting them in our wineador or our climate-controlled walk-in if we were rich folks.
Yeah.
Where they're at 65 RH or 63 RH or even lower. We know exactly the temperature is at 70 degrees pegged all the time. It's a different animal after 5
Yes.
or 6 or 7 years.
And I think, too, that it also speaks to the fact of what we were talking about with the fact that they're doing a different type of process with the fermentation to make it ready to smoke now.
Right.
So you've sped up that process.
Like, are they doing that in addition to the aging? Is what
Well,
you're
I think so. I think because the cigars are 5 years old, right? So they've
At
been
least.
doing this probably for 10 years now, at least, right? They've been doing this whole fermentation process and
Uh-huh.
stuff. So you have, and that's why I think that the regular mainline Cuban cigars are going to have problems aging for longer periods of time because of the fact that you see in the Anahados program where they, probably do the same process for manufacturing the cigars, and then they have a bad way of storing it, and so they're like paper because they've sped up the whatever. But even though, if you would have taken those cigars and put them in your humidor for 5 years at your temperature controlled thing, you're probably looking at a peak time of those cigars maybe being, maybe 10 years, between 5 and 10 years. So, yeah, I think that moving down the road, I think that they should do something with the cigars where it's like they have one that's the strong one, and one is the ready to smoke now. You don't need to age it. Just smoke it.
I'm about done with mine. I mean, that's for this cigar, that's nubbing it. I did smoke a cigar the other day that I was burning my fingers because it was still so good. But that's about it for me on this.
Okay, so, all right. Look at that. Is
Yeah,
that
still
bizarre or
doing it.
what?
You got a bad roll.
Isn't that weird?
Unfortunately.
You know, it's like a crown.
Yeah.
It's like literally like a crown. Yeah. So, I mean, I got like a little bit of wood, a little bit of that caramel sweetness in there and everything like that. Construction-wise, it sucked,
Yeah.
you know, because I think it was overfilled.
Yeah.
But to your point, you know, I can taste kind of a little bit of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, hard to do a review when you get a bad roll. Just like you're
But-
just not having the same effect
So-
that I did.
Anyway, you need to take this guy's thoughts on it because I really didn't get all that
Yeah,
good of a.
so I think if you like Por Larranaga, if you like the PLPC, if you like the Monte Carlo, you're probably going to like this cigar, particularly if you're willing to go up to a 52 ring gauge. That's about my limit for what I'm comfortable smoking. Once I get to 54, I feel it the entire time that I'm smoking a cigar. I'm like, it's too big. I'm not enjoying it, even if it's really good, like a Cato Say or something. But I really think that at the price point, if you can get them in the $10 to $11 range per stick in these 10 count boxes. Also, the boxes are really nice. It's like a varnished, wooden flip top box. I would say go for it. I mean, it's a low barrier of entry, low price point, I think. It's a decent sized cigar. Unfortunately, you had a bad one. I really haven't had a tight one yet, and I've smoked through most of one box. When I bought them, I think I bought 9 boxes, and I kind of distributed them among a few different people. Yeah, I think it's a thumbs up for me, and with some aging potential down the line too, because it's not done. It's not. I don't think it's at its best yet.
There we go.
Yeah.
So now you have it. With me, it is what it is. I can't really put any kind of a rating or anything like that on it because it was not all that good. But
You got a thumb this way, probably.
yeah, I mean, thumb down on that one. I
On
mean,
the
that's a thumbs
construction,
down.
thumb
because,
down, no question.
Yeah,
That's all right.
no
That's fair.
question on that.
It's fair, if you get a bad cigar, obviously, normally if we were really reviewing cigars, we should smoke 3 of them. Right?
Absolutely.
And that gives you an opportunity to have a bad one and still have the full experience.
Right.
But we can't do that.
We can't do that. So
Wrong format.
yeah, I mean, with the New World stuff, we probably could, but then it takes a lot of time to do that. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Especially like doing that. So anyway, I got a thumbs down. He's got a thumbs up, and I think that your probably is more accurate than mine. I mean,
Yeah.
you know
I mean,
what
not only from this one, but I've smoked a lot of them.
Yeah.
So.
So anyway, there it is. We're back, and we're gonna smoke another cigar. So anyway, we'll talk to you later.